Informants. We're your hosts, Mariah and
Karen.
And it's good to see everybody. Welcome back. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook. We'd love to get to 50 subscribers this week if we could, so be sure to give us a like and drop a comment below with any suggestions for future episodes. So today, we're going to be talking about something fun. Do you want to tell them what we're talking about today?
Yeah, we're going to give you some parenting tips. So we're going to go over some of the good, bad, and the ugly of being a mom and give you some wisdom and also some, I guess, learn the hard knocks way kind of information. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be talking about today because we're both moms and we both have experience and we both have learned a lot, even in your short time as a mom. So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. I think it'll be good too because you're an older mom and I'm a new mom.
I'm an older mom.
You're an older mom and now a grandma. So I think it's good to see the different perspectives and, I think that'll be kind of cool. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I love
it. Let's see. I had a couple of questions we could kind of answer. So what are a few things when someone's a brand new mom, like the first few weeks, what are some tips that you have as the grandma to make that transition a little easier for the parents?
Like for new moms when they bring the baby home?
Yeah, for mom, the dad, the baby, everybody.
Yeah.
What makes it easier?
I think the tips I would offer as the grandma would just be a little less hard on yourself during that time frame because when you first bring baby home, it's an adjustment for everybody. There's going to be a lot of love, a lot of emotion, a lot of sleep deprivation. There's going to be physical issues. And so as a grandma, I remember being there for you when you came home and I just tried to be really accommodating, whatever you needed, whatever you didn't need, even if you were being unreasonable with a request or just didn't make any sense. It didn't matter. Just try to serve
please
them
don't
well.
leave.
Yeah, well, that one I had to because I had to go back home and go to work. But
yeah,
no, I mean, just try to be accommodating. I think that's one thing. We just need to help one another during that transition, and then also skedaddle. I felt like there was a point where I had to leave because literally you kind of have to find your own way a little bit with your husband, and so just taking that step back. I didn't want to leave, but I knew that you needed to be on your own too. So I thought that was helpful.
Yeah, I remember that day. I was like, oh my gosh, if she leaves, I don't know what to do.
I know. I prayed for you the whole way home.
Man.
I remember I don't want to go, but I felt like you guys needed me to step back so you could try to figure it out a little bit.
Yeah. You kind of have to get in a rhythm, and we probably did need that, but yeah, I would say so for the first few weeks, having good support is important. So I don't know what I would have done if you and Damien were not there, because you really need people who are going to be there to help you because you also don't know how it's going to go. So, I thought it was going to be a real easy home birth, and then it turned into, a whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was not an easy home birth. So, I really needed, my mom there, and I'm so glad that she was there and Damien, and they just did so much. I couldn't even get out of bed most of the time. So, it was just... You really need to find good support, and that's something you probably want to do, when you're pregnant, Don't wait till the last minute. Even if you need a doula, which, it's not the same maybe as, having a husband or a mom with you, but just get somebody, a friend, anybody who can be there, because it's hard. It's hard the first couple weeks. It is not easy.
I think that also brings up a really interesting, as Christians, there are a lot of expecting moms that don't have that. And I think the church really has an obligation to step in and to be there, because there are women who may have not even wanted to be pregnant but made the right choice and kept the baby, and now they're walking that journey alone. And so my heart just kind of goes out to those women, and how can we as Christians and as a church do a better job supporting women in our communities who I mean, this is like one of the hardest things to do, and then a lot of them have to do it alone. I just think there's something there that maybe we can unpack.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I like even thinking about some of the moms when I was going to church, they didn't really have anybody. And,
Yeah.
our church did like a meal train, and that's nice. But, I feel like you really need more support from your church family, like encouragement, check-ins. I mean, other than the meal train, I did have some friends that checked in with me, and that was really cool. So
Yeah.
that helps a lot. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think one of the things too that probably new moms, at least when I was a new mom, I didn't always want. Like, yes, I want people to be there just to morally kind of support me and encourage me and just tell me I'm doing a good job. But I also don't want everybody telling me all the things that I need to do because everybody has
Yeah.
something to off. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
blah blah
yeah.
blah. And I mean, some of it you just have to kind of like roll with it. But
Yeah.
like constant advice on what you should be doing is probably not helpful to a new mom because
Yeah.
literally God has programmed us as moms to have instinctually like this knowledge of what to do with our babies. There's like
Yeah.
literally something built into our DNA that helps us. And so when you have all these voices coming at you, you start to second guess your own like abilities. And I feel like sometimes people need to just kind of be quiet and let moms use their intuition.
Yeah.
God gave that to them and let them be a mom.
Yeah, that's like my biggest issue, even to this day, is like, I mean, anyone who's a new mom or knows a new mom knows, like, the internet. Like, you were probably already getting advice from everybody before the internet, and then with the internet, you can just times that by like 1,000.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's really a problem. It's like very unhealthy, and you really like, obviously I've learned to just take advice from a very small number of people, like you included. And if I'm really in a pinch and I really need answers to something, like, then maybe I'll use Google. But like, I've had to completely stop getting advice from like the Facebook groups and all the things and all the people, because it's like that lady who talked to you at Pilates who was like desperately looking
Yes.
for, and it's like, I remember being that way. Like, I would have talked to like a random lady in a grocery store to get advice,
Yeah.
because I didn't know where to go, and I
Yeah.
was like, should I just listen to my mom? Who do I listen to? But now that our daughter's older, like, I realize, like, you really don't need all of the advice that's coming
Right.
in. You don't need to join all the Facebook
Yeah.
groups. You don't need to post on Facebook questions. You don't need to talk to the lady at the grocery store. You need to pick like 3 people that you trust, that has like some knowledge,
Yeah.
and just try to keep your knowledge pool very small. The
Right.
smaller, the better,
Yeah.
truly. The
Yeah.
bigger is not better. Because everybody, I mean, that's too
Yeah.
much. It's too much information. And I'm preaching to the choir because I still deal with that. But I feel like I've kind of learned, like, I listen to you and like my mother-in-law and like some very small number of people.
Yeah, for sure.
So-
No, I think that's good advice.
Yeah.
I think it can be really hard to. I didn't have the internet when I had you,
Yeah.
so I'm so grateful for that because I mean, and your dad and I joke about this, but as new parents, and we were young, like we were
Yeah.
young.
Yeah, you were a lot
I was
younger
like
than I was.
19.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I remember we just
All
figured it out.
vibes.
It was all just intuition.
Yeah.
God's built
Yeah.
in, like, and I mean, we weren't perfect, but by all stretches of the imagination, I think we did pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have a lot of voices chirping at us. And,
Yeah.
I appreciate that because I can't imagine. I mean, it's the same thing that kids deal with this constant bombardment of information and images and things. I mean, your brain is not built to
Yeah.
process that kind of information.
Right.
And so I can't imagine, like, you must just get overwhelmed with that.
Yeah. Well, and it's not even just advice. Like, it's, I'm like, especially the first month of your kid's life, you are the prime market for like every baby company. Like, they were sending formula to my house. I've never given them my address. Like, they
Oh,
were
that's
trying to get me to
creepy.
use formula. And then, like, you know, they scare you into wanting to get, like, the owlet socks so you can monitor your baby's heart rate while
no.
I mean, the technology, like, you could basically, like,
You could spend so much money.
spend thousands of dollars. And, you know, when you're having, like, a sleepless night and you're really exhausted and, like, you're very fragile.
Yes.
And then you're told this product is going to fix all your issues with your baby, like, if you're desperate enough, you'll do it. You know what I'm saying? So you're kind of I feel like the first month, so now we're moving out of the first week. I'd say the first month you really need to like protect yourself and your baby, because a lot of like companies are going to try to be predatory towards you and like exploit the fact that you're feeling vulnerable and like having a hard time sleeping and you're kind of figuring things out. They exploit that, and I definitely saw that firsthand. And it's
Right.
you can really drop some money on some things you do not need.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think let's get back to some tips and some tricks of, you know, being a new mom or even just being a new grandma, you know, like the points, like I know like a couple of times like I'd give you advice and like you were like not in the space for that, and so you'd be kind of like annoyed, but it's okay. I didn't take that personal. Like I would just I was like, no, I get it. Like you're overwhelmed with information, and the advice that I was giving you was counter to some of the voices that you were hearing online, and so you like questioned some of my advice, and then come to find out I was right.
It's all trial and error, because then you find
and my advice was right, and so then I was just like, you know, I'll just let God deal with that in your heart.
Yeah. And
but no, I mean, honestly though, because I mean, it's a stressful time. And so like, I tried not to take it too personal. I mean, that can be hard, but
yeah, that's good advice for grandmas though. Because it's obviously, I mean, that's the thing too, is like, I've never been a mom, so I had no idea like where I'm supposed to get my advice from. Like, you would think it's from like your doctors and your pediatricians.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sorry, but a lot of the advice I got from them, especially with like breastfeeding and all that kind of stuff, was not particularly helpful.
Right.
What was helpful was my lactation consultant, and like when it came to, you know, my baby eating solids and stuff, my mom.
Yeah.
So it took me time to figure out who to trust, but I did have to do some trial
hopefully
and
you
error.
trusted me right out of the gate, bud.
Well, of course I did, but it was hard when it was when Google was telling me one thing and then you're telling me another thing. So yeah, I mean, that's
good
advice.
Or the potatoes, you know. You didn't believe me on the potatoes.
Yeah, the potatoes are real. That's
new mom trick. Hey, you get hemorrhoids?
Potatoes, dude. Yeah, I could do a whole episode on like that alone. We got all the tips and tricks.
Yeah,
for that.
We do.
But yeah, so I mean, yeah, you just have to do trial and error, and that's a good advice for grandmas. Is like, obviously, I trust you, and there's no one else, you know, in the world that I would want advice from. I just had to try some things on my own and learn they don't work. Like giving my baby an egg at 6 months, just a straight up strip of egg. I don't know what these baby-led weaning people are doing, but my baby cannot just eat a strip of egg. Okay, no, she's not ready for that. So
I think let's talk a little bit about, you know, after the baby too, there's, you know, your body. Like your body is, it's not the same. It is. It's kind of damaged. And also, I mean, I remember feeling just like, okay, everything has been exposed in this process. Like,
oh yeah,
I feel I
have no shame.
Yeah,
no.
It's like, oh my gosh, but you just feel so like shredded.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it, but it can be exhausting, and it takes so long to get your body back to like some
especially
sort of.
if you have like tearing or something.
Yeah,
if you got tearing. Girl, you wow.
Well, but you're nursing, so your body's not your own.
Yeah,
you know. I mean,
that was really like. Yeah, that
it's
was
weird
hard.
because when you become a mom, you really learn selflessness.
Yes.
Because like when, you know, before baby is ever conceived, it's like, you know, you just do whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, it's
I
your
spent
body.
like 2 hours on my makeup.
Right.
I would like leisurely get my hair. I mean, literally, it's all different. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that can be challenging, and it probably. I mean, I kind of remember being frustrated, like, oh my gosh, like, am I ever going to be like normal again?
Yeah.
Like, when do I get my body? When do I not have to like be on call 500 seconds of the day?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I mean, now she's almost 10 months in a couple of days, and I could definitely say It's gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
She's still a Velcro baby. She does not like to be away from me for very long,
That's
which is
cute.
fine because she's not going to always be that way. But yeah, that was really a change. You know, I remember like right after she was born and like I was still adjusting and everything. Like I remember getting really emotional because of the hormones and stuff, but also because it's like very profound.
Right.
But like I thought about how like Jesus, you know, he gave up his literal human body for us, you know,
Right.
and I really cannot think of a better real life example of that
Yeah.
than like motherhood.
Yeah.
You know what
for
I'm
sure.
saying? Like you have to you have no choice but to be completely selfless.
Yeah.
And you have to sacrifice your sleep, your body, like your everything. You have to give it all up. You have to give it all up for a period of time to take care of this tiny little
forever.
baby.
I mean,
yeah, forever.
When you're a mom, you're a mom.
Yeah,
I mean,
forever.
It makes Proverbs 31, the woman, it just puts that in a whole different light. You know, where she's getting up, you know, early before everyone else rises, and she's staying up late, and you know,
moms eat last.
Her
they wake
children
up first.
rise and call her blessed.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. Yeah. That's the goal.
Right.
Like,
it is.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, I remember like before I had our daughter, like I used to think like, wow, that sounds really kind of miserable. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, nobody wants necessarily, I think, in their sinful nature to be selfless. But like, once you are able to do it, it's like something you're kind of proud of. And there's just nothing else I'd rather do.
Right.
Truly. Like, I mean, it's hard and it's, you know, it's very taxing and everything's different, but like it's the greatest calling you could possibly have.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like so cool. Like I see our daughter, like she's getting so big and she's like really doing well in like all the things.
Yeah.
She's doing really good. And like that's like the best thing I'll ever do or ever have done. You know?
Correct. Yeah.
So
yeah, being a mom it's transformational.
Yeah.
It literally brings out your best self.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
it makes you realize your worst self and that you need to be better.
It also can bring out your worst self.
Yeah.
On those days when you're a little sleep deprived. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Or
Sundays are tough.
Or when your kids get older and they test every ounce of your physical strength.
No, I never did that. No, not
the
me.
prayer closet. Oh my gosh.
Not me. Yeah.
Never.
Nope.
Well, what else? What other tips do we have for new moms out there? Because it's a tough place to be when you're a new mama.
Let's see.
What about all the stuff? You know, I think that's probably, I mean, everybody has baby showers nowadays and we get all these things and all this stuff. I mean, how much of all this stuff did you actually use?
You know what?
Let's say if you had 100 things.
Yeah.
Of that, how many of those things actually became useful and how many were just like, yeah, that was nice, but oh my gosh.
Well, you know what? So here's the interesting thing. So when we got all the things, like we got so much. People were so
generous.
Awesome, so generous. Like I can't even believe, like everybody was so excited about this baby, including me, and it was just really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and what I noticed is I think I have used every single thing, but sometimes it's like a week I'll use it, and sometimes it only works for like a week, and then I never touch it again, and then like 4 months later I'll pick it back up and use it. So like I'm trying to think of a good example. Like swaddle blankets, we used them all the time the first 3 months of her life, and then she outgrew them, but now they serve a different purpose. So now we use them like in her bath, or we use them as a blanket. So I mean, some of the things you get, it might seem like kind of stupid or whatever, but like you actually, like not stupid, but it'll just seem like, oh, I'm never going to use that. But then you might use it like 10 months from now for a totally different purpose. So I don't know. I mean, I liked a lot of the cool, like we got a lot of organic, like really nice, really high quality things. And I wasn't sure if we were going to use them all, but I feel like we find a way because I wanted to use them. I didn't want them to just sit there and, even though she wants to just eat water bottles and play with remotes, like I try to put her toys in front of her as her only option.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, look, someone who loves you got this for you. You need to play with it.
Yes.
And
Oh
she
my
does
gosh.
sometimes.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so you probably what do you think? Like when you look back.
I think overall,
It's a lot. I mean, you don't
here's
need
the thing.
it all.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like new moms out there feel so much pressure to get so many things, and if you
Right.
don't have all the organic this, and you
Right.
don't have all the toys and all the this and that, honestly, look, people, we've been having kids for a long time. Okay, since the beginning of time.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And really, the most important thing that a baby needs is their mother
Yeah.
and their father.
Yeah.
And love and milk
Yep.
and a warm blanket or a warm place to sleep.
Yeah.
And all the rest, I mean, you'd be surprised. Kids can make toys out of anything.
Yeah.
You know, all the other stuff is nice and helpful, and I'm not saying it doesn't serve a purpose, but I think sometimes we get our consumer mentality as parents trickles into our parenting. And I
Yeah.
think literally sometimes all the distractions and all the other things could be removed. So for people that are on a budget or don't have a lot
Oh,
of money,
yeah.
I want you to know it's okay if you don't have all those things.
And you know
It's
what? You could
really-
also get some of it, like the breastfeeding pillow. Like
Yeah. That
it's
was
not
helpful.
necessary, but it sure is helpful.
It is
Just get
nice.
it secondhand.
Yeah,
You don't have to. I
exactly.
mean, I think mine was secondhand. One of them was
Yeah.
secondhand that I had, and yeah, I mean, you don't have
And
to.
you
like,
use it for only a short period of
You
time.
do, yeah.
so-
I don't use that anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I haven't
mean,
used it in months.
No, so
But
I
you
think
do,
that's-
yeah, for like a short period. Also, I feel like if you can invest in like sick teething, what would that be called? Like medication, I guess, but like remedies for when your baby's
like home
sick.
remedies?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
home remedy. If you can invest in that instead of some of the other things,
Mhm.
that was worth it to me.
Yeah.
Like the Highlands Organic Teething Gel, and there's a couple of other things that have been like necessary for when she's sick or teething.
Yeah.
I feel like that's good to invest in because I did not want to use Tylenol if I could avoid it. We haven't used it yet.
Yep.
So, just prioritize some of the stuff. It's like I don't know, you can decide what's most important, but you don't need it all.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
And don't feel pressure either. I
Yeah.
think, oh my gosh.
Get off
I get,
Instagram.
seriously, it's like you don't need every tech device known to man to make sure your baby is breathing at
I
night. I'm
promise you
sorry.
don't.
You know,
Oh my
there's
goodness.
like, and it's the
We
same
almost
thing.
did so many times.
I know. And here's the thing. And you see this even in health and fitness and wellness. It's like, look, at the end of the day, all of it aside, you're going to have to put your trust in God.
Yeah.
And it's
Yep.
like you literally cannot monitor your child 24/7 or you will become a helicopter parent.
Yeah.
You have got to put faith and trust in God Almighty.
Yeah.
And he has it. You know, I mean, literally, it's a trust, and it's hard, but
Yeah, I mean,
they
yeah.
will sell you because fear sells. I mean,
It
they
really does.
They will sell you all sorts of things, and even all the
Yes.
home remedies and all the all this organic bed and all this other garbage. It's like your baby didn't even sleep in her crib. I think she just started sleeping in her crib.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
she
talk
was-
about that though, because I think that one ticked me off. So I remember when you got home with that precious little angel, you were so freaking scared about having that baby in your bed.
Oh,
Those-
terrified.
Shame on you,
Yeah.
internets people.
Oh, I was absolutely
Shame on you
petrified.
for telling these young mothers, like, oh my gosh, you're going to squish and kill your baby if you put it in your bed. Okay, if you pull up the statistical research on babies that get smothered in their parents' bed,
Yeah.
there's usually alcohol, drugs,
Right.
or some other influence on the parent.
Yeah.
You're not going to... People have been sleeping with their babies since the beginning of time. Where do you think the babies slept? Where do you
Right.
think Adam and Eve put Cain and Abel?
Right.
Do you think them threw them outside?
You
for-
will not. I mean, truly, if you have a baby that's not sleeping through the night very well, like our baby's a terrible sleeper generally, still to this day. If you have one of those and you don't put them in your bed and go sleep safely, I don't know how you're going to sleep, sis. I truly don't.
You both slept in my bed when you were babies.
Yeah.
Because it was the
I
easiest
mean,
way to nurse. It's like,
yeah.
oh, you wake up, okay, great.
Yeah,
here
if you're
you
if you're
go.
breastfeeding and
Oh my
you're
gosh.
and you're trying to do that, I mean, oh man, I
just-
really fought it. I fought it for a long time, and it's not for everybody. I'm sure some people have great great sleepers, and they can put them in their crib day one
Sure,
and they'll
yes.
sleep. And that's awesome. Really, really cool. But if you're not one of those people, there's safe ways to do it. I promise you, go to leleche.com, check out like all the resources. I mean, if you have a flat bed, firm, I'm gonna say some of the things I learned, because this is, it helps you feel better and it makes your baby safer in bed. So you need a firm, flat mattress, no extra blankets, no extra pillows. It's not particularly the most comfortable way to sleep, but it's the best way to get sleep sometimes. And you sleep in like a curl shape around your baby, which you'll do naturally anyway, because we're designed, to take care of our babies.
Yep.
And if you can have like a low mattress, or even put your mattress on the floor, just if you're scared, if your baby's rolling and stuff, you can do that. And yeah, that's pretty. Don't do drugs or drink, and then sleep with your baby. Keep them in the middle, and I promise you're gonna sleep.
Right. Yeah, a lot better.
It's a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and that's one of the dark
I wish
sides
I could
of the
go
internet.
back. I forgot about that, but I wish I could go
There's
back in time.
something too, a child being close to their mother
Yeah.
like that too. I mean, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, like we won't go into all that stuff, all the science but yeah.
It's
So
yeah,
what
I'm
other?
glad I'm glad you were there to kind of get me to.
I remember when you
get to a better
finally
place.
like took the advice,
Yeah.
and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very necessary.
It was. Yeah. I mean, I was so sad for you that you had all that fear from the
Yeah.
internet. That was terrible.
Yeah. So now that
Well, even your grandma
oh yeah,
was like, oh my gosh.
everybody.
She was brainwashed because she
Yeah.
was a former educator, so
Right.
she had that whole left-leaning mantra.
the 60s,
bleh.
70s. Yeah, they did things a lot different back in those times.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All
but
right.
okay, so now that the baby's gotten older and we've all kind of adjusted to routines and everything, what kind of advice do you have now that she's getting older as the grandma? Like, what kind of things have you enjoyed? What kind of things have been, enjoyable for you to look forward to?
Yes. So I'm going to read
Or any other tips?
Yeah. First, I'm going to start with Proverbs 17:6. Grandchildren are the crown of the aged, and the glory of children is their fathers. So that is how a good grandma, grandpa, whatever should feel about their grandchildren.
Yeah.
And so when they're thriving and they're happy and they're filled with joy, I mean, that really is a crown of the aged.
Yeah.
The aged. I love it. But things, I think as they're getting older, I think one of the things that I've noticed that has been good is let her have independent playtime.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to be stimulated, or you don't have to pay
yeah.
attention to her all the time. You want her to sit in a corner with her toys and just talk to them and play with them and like figure things out. I was watching her the other night and I didn't talk to her at all.
Yeah.
I just, I gave her some time on the floor and I dumped a whole box of bricks out, like those little blocks and whatever they are. And she just sat there jibber jabbering to her little blocks. But then she found 2 purple circle blocks and she figured out that they matched and she stacked them. And it took her a while to do that, but that was her developing critical thinking and, like motor skills and all this other stuff. And it's like, and when she did that, I cheered for her. I was like, oh my gosh, good job, Victoria, blah, 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 whatever. But I mean, it's just letting them explore the world around them, because as they get older, they need to learn boundaries. You also have to let them crawl around and like explore. It's super frightening because you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to eat everything. And they will. They will eat everything. Yes.
She ate a brochure the other day.
They all seem to pick up a coin at some point in their life and eat it. And then you have to get it out of their poop. It's really annoying. But letting them explore and just making the spaces safe, and then just kind of watching them and teaching them, no, that hurts you. Don't touch that. Because that's how they learn, like, what am I supposed to do? What am I not supposed to do? And you've been doing such a great job with that. So,
well, that's the other cool thing about grandmas that are really cool and like the best is like I feel like whenever she's gone through like a growth spurt or she's like advancing in like skills, I still hold back and I'm like, no, you still can't crawl around. You're too little. Like I get very like
Mama-ish?
Yeah, mama-ish. And like because I don't know, I didn't know a lot about babies before we had one. Truly, I just I knew some, but like you don't really understand till you have one. So I needed my mom to tell me, no, it's okay. Now is the time when your baby can start doing this. Like it's like this is normal. Like a lot of reassurance and pushing me to get out of the house, pushing me to have a normal life.
Gym.
Go to the gym. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this, I swear, I would not be doing now if my mom hadn't told me, like, okay, you're good. You can go and be gone for a couple hours, and everything's gonna be okay.
Aw, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
Yeah, that's a good one. No, I mean, but that's our job is we're there to help you. Because, I mean, we were all that mother once that didn't want, I was always a little protective too, like, But your dad was always good about, no, they're fine. They're good.
Yeah.
Now, dads have a different threshold of good. That's
They
for
should
sure.
do a dad episode.
Yeah, maybe we will. Maybe we'll have the boys join us one day.
Yeah.
Talk to them a little bit about stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What else?
Let's see. I guess what advice do you have for me as she gets older? Like, what things do I have to look forward to or watch out for from your perspective as the grandma, and what kind of things
that's a good
do you
one.
hope for as a grandma?
Yeah, I think so. When we went to the pastor's house and we're having dinner with them, that we're like, what is the one thing? And it's like, I don't know if I can nail down one thing except for this. It's like, just install in your children, even though sometimes like planting the seeds of our faith don't blossom until they were older. You guys, I always was reading scriptures with you. I was always singing, even though I sing terribly, singing Christian songs. And like, we were learning these things, and like, instill your values and your Christian faith in them when they're young. And even if you don't necessarily see them give their life to Christ until they're older, and maybe they go through some things, the seeds are planted, and literally it makes a difference. And start early, like keep God like central in raising your children. Yeah. And if you don't know something, the first place to go is the Bible, not the internet. Yeah. And it's so like, I know it sounds so cliche. It's like, check your Bible.
And you're not going to pull open the Bible, flip to a page.
Yeah, you can't
it's not going to tell you what.
It's not a magical.
It never, in anything in life, it's never like that.
You can't do that. You can't just open it and be like,
I think people really think that, though. It's like, no, you need to.
I mean, if we're honest, have you not done that?
I have done that.
It's like,
I was very disappointed. Yeah.
Wow. No, I don't want that one.
No, like you should. What works best is if you dedicate at least a chapter or two a day, and you kind of unfold wisdom as you go. Yeah, I mean the Psalms are always good.
The Psalms are great.
The Proverbs are always good.
Oh
I mean you can glean so much wisdom, and like even though it might not directly like, why is my baby not sleeping through the night? It might not answer that specifically, but what it might tell you is you might read a scripture about patience and peace, suffering, and like, you like God is there with you. Like that's the kind of thing that you need in those times, and that's really good advice.
You might open it up to the Old Testament where there's like massacre and bloodshed, and you're like, at least I might be tired and not getting sleep, but at least I am not wandering in the desert for 40 years. So there's all of that too.
Yeah,
there's
that's true. At least that's not
me. That's not me today.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, that's
a
good.
Good point.
Yeah, I would just say that is, and the things you have to look forward to. I mean, obviously when they start talking, it's so precious just to see their little brains spit out things. And like, I remember when you were talking, you were so smart. Oh my gosh. At a year, you were saying like you were saying big words and like big sentences. You were talking early and
Mother,
walking
I
early.
would like my sippy cup.
Yeah. And then, even watching their personality develop, because you already see it in her, but even just watching that when we are born, like God knows us in the womb. He
Yeah.
knows us before we're born.
It's so true.
He gives us the characteristics.
She had personality in the womb.
Yes, and those characteristics are already built in.
Yeah.
And then our experiences in life shape how we end up. But, you can't change at the core who someone is.
It's
and
true.
so the things that you like or don't like about your child's personality, you've got to learn to mold them or shape them. And sometimes it's harder, to do that because I remember you were a very strong-willed child.
Yeah.
You had joy, uncontrollable joy that was contagious to those around you. And so you had this like rebelliousness and this spunk, but then you also had this joy and laughter. And so it was like trying to shape that. And, the world, the world will, definitely. So homeschool your kids, keep them away from the world.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
If you can.
If you can. Yeah, I know not everybody thinks that they can, but honestly.
Oh, we sat down and we did the math on what we would be paying right now in daycare in our area. We would not be having a good time at all.
Well, and then someone that doesn't even love or know your child is raising your child.
I know. We've heard, it's, we could do a whole podcast episode about that. There's lots out there, though. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah. No, I want to go back to the advice you talked about, though, like planting the seeds and everything, because I vividly remember being a kid.
Yeah.
And I remember Veggie Tales and the Pantyhose of Joy song, like the Breastplate of Righteousness and all that. And then my mom came up with Pantyhose of Joy to add a little flair to it. And like, we thought it was so funny. But I remember, like all those things that you did with us as a kid, and even though like I grew up, went to public school, and kind of, strayed as I was getting a little older. I mean, you definitely planted those seeds. And I think it's really special because now, like, thinking about, like, our daughter, I'm like, I want to do the same things, and I have that to go off of, like, the things you did for us, like playing Christian music, and singing songs, and
just dancing and having fun and joy.
Taking your kids to church. Like, those are all things you did, and now I can build off of that.
Yeah. And then you can learn from our mistakes. Like, do not send your kids to public schools. Do not send your kids to public schools. Do not send your kids to public schools.
Yes. For real.
I mean, honestly,
Please.
Because the thing is, you were on the cusp of the revolution.
Yeah.
The nightmare revolution that we're in now.
Yep.
And so you can't compete with that.
No.
And then slip in these little suckers mid, high school, and it's like you're doomed as a parent because these things are where your kids are at.
Yep.
And this is who's giving them a worldview.
Yeah.
No matter what you say.
Yep.
So you got to plant really good seeds and hope, for the best. But so just keep them out of public schools.
Yeah,
if
you can save yourself probably a lot of pain.
A lot of tears. Oh my gosh.
You need to keep them protected until they're ready.
Yeah.
Again.
We send them, and I remember distinctively there were parents who were like, but if we keep all the Christians home, how are they going to be a light? They need to be evangelists.
Right,
and
yeah.
And it's like, whoa, at 10 to 8 to 17, they're not really capable. They're not even, their frontal cortex isn't even fully developed yet. And you want them to be evangelizing the world. Maybe you do that with your child in public spaces or, get them involved in activities. But you just dump them into public schools and hope for the best that their little light's going to shine. It's like that is a target for the darkness.
Yeah.
They see that little light and they want to choke it out.
Yeah.
Who flocked to you in high school?
Yeah. The best.
The brightest and the best.
Yeah.
But they did the same to me as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is darkness wants to cloud out the light.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think because a lot of the kids knew I had like Christian parents and I came from that upbringing, they really wanted me to hate my parents.
It's like an extra double check on the win list if they get you.
Oh, yeah, like double points if you get the
Yeah.
Christian kid to be
Right.
bad. Yeah, it's totally a thing.
It really is.
Yeah, so, I mean, homeschool your kids.
Not to be rude or like make people feel bad if you send
No.
your kids to I understand.
I mean, she asked about. A lot of people don't know.
And I feel bad about it. Okay, but
What? You didn't know.
well, I mean, it's not the same public school that I went to.
It's
and
not,
we had this like false reality that like, oh, they're going to play sports and sports are good for kids and all this other. And it's like, yeah, but at what cost?
Yeah.
an attack on their faith.
Right.
That's not worth, maybe some free college money when
Yeah.
college has turned out to be such a farce in itself.
Right.
That's a whole nother episode we could
Yeah.
get into.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have Charlie Kirk come on and talk about that.
That would be
Charlie,
perfect.
we're calling you.
Yeah. We are.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. So we've covered first week, the month, some tips. Is there anything else you can think of?
No, I think probably just being kind to yourself and patient. It's not perfect and you are going to make mistakes. I mean,
Yeah.
you've experienced that, right? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure you feel like, I've already
There's seasons too. That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing is there are seasons, okay? Some seasons are going to feel like they never end. They always do. Always. And I swear for every really bad day I have, like horrible nightmare day, like teething, sick, miserable, everybody's mad, it's bad, like everything's going wrong, I literally promise the next day or a couple days from now, way better. Like every time. And it's
Yeah.
like every time I have one of those days, it always feels like it's never like this is my life now.
Yeah.
And it never is. Like every time she teased, me and my husband are like, dude, we're not okay. Like things are not okay. I mean, like
We're not
everyone in the
okay.
whole world knows when our baby's teething because we are just miserable. We
That's
are not
funny.
sleeping. The lack of sleep makes things worse. It makes you really grumpy. But it always does get better. And then after she's done teething and has her growth spurt, it's actually even better.
Right.
Like she learns new skills and now she's like even more of like a little person,
Yeah.
So
I love that.
that's like probably my number one advice is everything has a season.
That's
and
good.
throughout all the seasons, you really you got to trust in God and you really have to just make a diligent habit of prayer as much as you possibly can. I pray all the time now, like ever since she's born. I'm always saying a prayer, like if
Yeah.
I'm getting stressed, and sometimes they're not always answered right away,
Right.
but most of them are.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of nights where like I'm praying like, God, can I please, I'm not asking for a full night's sleep. I'm asking for enough sleep, just enough sleep to get me through the day. And he always answers for me.
Yeah.
I mean, he takes care, he's always taking care of me and the baby, and
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to trust.
And I
you
think,
really do.
And I think just having grace and forgiveness.
Yeah, that's
even
hard.
for your spouse.
Yep,
because
that's hard.
literally, I mean, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to
Yes.
have bad days. You're going to yell at your husband
Yeah.
and you're going to
and
regret
he's
it.
going to yell at you.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have that.
It's
and
hard.
But the thing is that God models to us
Yeah.
the love and the grace
Yeah.
and the forgiveness. And so who are we to hoard that? We
Yeah.
need to be generous and just be
That's hard.
intentional. Like, I mean, be quick to say you're sorry.
Yeah.
And even with your child, like, you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You're going to go.
I'm a
I mean,
big believer in like apologizing
Yeah.
when you do something
Yeah.
wrong. 'Cause
Yeah.
it models.
yeah, even if it's, 10 minutes later, an hour later, whenever
Right.
whenever it comes to you, like,
Yeah.
you just need to be okay with being wrong
Yeah.
sometimes, because we're wrong a lot.
Yeah.
We're definitely wrong.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
so
good.
just be kind to yourself, moms out there. It's hard, but it is the most important job
Yeah.
that you have as a mother, is to just love and care for your children. And so do it to the best of your ability and trust God.
Yeah.
Lean into God. Read your Bible.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have strong people around you. Even if it's a small circle, just keep a nice, strong circle that
Yeah.
love you and care about you too.
Yeah. And try to keep people in your circle, not just the ones who, want to tell you everything you want to hear, but like give you the hard truth. Like you need people who can do both.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
feel like you're really good at encouraging me, but then also being like, okay, look, I know you're tired, but you got to go back to the gym someday, okay? It's been 2 weeks. You got to go back. Like you need somebody
Aw.
like that. I
Yeah.
need somebody like that.
I do
So,
too. We all do.
Yeah.
We all need accountability.
Yes,
we do.
that's what it
we
is,
need
yeah.
love and we need accountability.
Right.
We need both.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully this has been encouraging to all the moms out there. And there's so many things we could dive into, but I think the most important thing is, trust your instincts. God has made you for this job. You
Yeah.
are equipped. And if you are alone or if you don't have anyone to support you out there, reach out to your local church, or, send us a message, and we'll see if we can't find somebody in your area that can help you, because
Yeah.
honestly, no one should go down that road of motherhood alone.
no.
That breaks my heart.
It breaks my heart thinking about that.
Yeah.
I wish I could help every.
Well, and maybe there's
Mom.
something we can do. So maybe we'll do an episode on what we can do, because I
That's a
think
good
that's
idea.
yeah. So anyways, just hang in there, ladies. You're doing a great job, and you are loved, and you are doing good, and just stay in the fight.
Yeah.
For your kids. They need you.
Yes. Yeah. Well said. I agree.
All right. Well, Blonde Informants, that's it for today. So we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.